what if the daily grind, the constant competition and that underlying gnawing feeling that there's just never enough, what if that isn't actually human nature at all?
Right.
What if instead it's really just an outdated animal operating system that we simply haven't uninstalled yet?
That is the big question.
It is. Welcome to our latest deep dive. Today, we are taking you on a journey to explore a really profound evolutionary roadmap that is supposedly hidden right inside your DNA.
Yeah, we're looking at a framework known as the 45th gene key today. And for those unfamiliar, the gene keys are this conceptual system that links human consciousness, our emotional states, and our actual genetic expression.
So it's basically arguing that as our awareness evolves, it literally changes the way our biology operates.
Exactly. It's fascinating. And we're going to trace this specific 45th pathway through 3 distinct phases.
Okay, lay them out for us.
So we start at a baseline of dominance, then we move into a state of synergy, and ultimately we arrive at this radical future state called communion. The core premise here is that we can shift out of this exhausting fear-based survival mode into a hidden harmony that's just waiting for us to access it.
But to understand where we're going, we first have to really dissect the operating system we are currently stuck in, right?
Yeah, we have to look at the baseline frequency of dominance.
And when we hear the word dominance, I think it's easy to just picture like dictators or alpha wolves fighting for a carcass out in the woods.
Sure, the obvious stuff.
Right. But the reality we're looking at today is much more insidious. It's the dominance of the left brain over the right brain, the teacher over the child, the few over the many. I mean, it's the water we swim in.
It really is. It's the foundation of almost every modern social structure. And it all traces back to a deeply rooted sense of insecurity.
Which starts really early, doesn't it?
It does. Think about early childhood. Sometime when you are very young, you pick up a distinct impression from the adults around you, or maybe from a specific event, that the world is simply not a safe place.
Wow, yeah.
And in response, your nervous system physically and emotionally contracts. You brace yourself, and that microscopic contraction, it becomes this learned reflex that dictates your behavior for the rest of your life.
So it's essentially trauma response at a species level.
Exactly.
Those shadow frequencies of dominance and fear, they are hardwired into the oldest parts of our brain, the amygdala.
Yes, the survival brain.
Because out in the wild, animals have to compete to survive. Like if you are a gazelle, your entire existence, your nervous system's whole job is defined by the fact that you are competing with the lion.
Right. You are always on high alert.
But the tragic irony here is that humans aren't animals in that specific survival sense anymore. I mean, we aren't being hunted on the savannah.
No, we have grocery stores.
Right. We've built climate-controlled houses and delivery apps, yet we were still running those ancient, unconscious memory loops of the gazelle and the lion.
And because that internal alarm bell never really switches off, the brain tries to solve an internal emotional problem with external physical solutions.
We try to fix the outside to feel better on the inside.
Precisely. We feel unsafe on the inside, so we project that panic outward. We try to manipulate and control our environment. And in a dominance-driven paradigm, the primary way we attempt to soothe our nervous system is through ownership.
Right.
We hoard territory, we hoard resources, we even try to own other people.
Okay, let's unpack this, because it's like we're frantically hoarding life jackets while we're already standing safely on dry land.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
We're perfectly safe, but we're acting like we are drowning. Why have we set ourselves up for so much stress? Look at the United Kingdom, for example, from the source material.
Yes, the land ownership example.
Right. Almost every single acre of land in the UK has centuries of historical papers, royal decrees, zoning laws, and these bitter, bloody disputes attached to it, just to prove who has the exclusive right to a specific patch of dirt.
It's wild when you step back and look at it.
It is. We hold on to these things so aggressively because subconsciously we sense our own mortality slipping away.
Yep.
We act as if we can take our real estate portfolios with us when we die.
And that grip on territory and status, it only really slackens when a person approaches the very end of their life.
When they realize none of it kept them safe from death.
Exactly. But that brings up the mechanical question, right? How do we uninstall this operating system before we are on our deathbeds?
Yeah. How do we fix it now?
Well, the instinct is usually to fight the fear, to suppress it, or to sort of conquer our anxiety. But fighting dominance with more dominance just feeds the very loop you are trying to escape.
Because you can't out-dominate dominance. If you go to war with your own anxiety, you are still at war.
That is exactly it.
So the alternative provided by the source is purely somatic. You have to locate that feeling of unsafeness inside your physical body, that tight chest, the shallow breathing, and just listen to it.
You just give the tension space without trying to fix it at all.
Right. And by simply shining the light of your attention on that bodily contraction, the grip begins to loosen. The tension actually starts to melt.
And when that fear melts, the underlying baseline that emerges is trust.
Just trust.
Yeah, but not a conditional trust. Not like, I trust this specific thing will go my way. It's an expansive biological relaxation, a feeling that the organism is fundamentally okay.
Wow.
And that shift from fear to trust is what triggers the next massive evolutionary leap. We move out of dominance and we step into the 45th gift, which is synergy.
So if the shadow of dominance forces us to isolate and hoard, the moment that fear melts, our biological imperative completely changes.
It does.
We stop bracing against the world and we start connecting with it. And this is where we get into the actual mechanics of the gene keys, which is fascinating.
It is.
The premise is that entering a state of deep trust physically impacts your cellular environment. It lowers cortisol. It changes your heart rate variability. And that chemical shift, it actually interacts with the codons within your DNA, creating a harmonic resonance.
The physical body literally starts vibrating at a different frequency.
That's incredible.
Imagine putting a magnet underneath a piece of paper that is covered in chaotic, scattered iron filings.
Okay, I can picture that.
The second that magnet is introduced, all those little metal shavings instantly snap into a beautiful, highly organized geometric pattern.
Oh, wow.
The magnetic field itself is completely invisible, but its organizing effect on the physical matter is undeniable.
So trust is that invisible magnetic field.
Exactly.
When we operate from it, we naturally snap into our proper place in the broader pattern. And this scales up too. Once a group of humans realizes they don't have to compete with the lion or each other, they can drop the whole corporate hierarchy thing and actually work together.
Right. But there is a really vital distinction here between standard teamwork and true synergy.
What's the difference?
Teamwork usually involves a manager enforcing cooperation from the top down.
Oh, right. Which is just dominance in a nice suit.
Exactly. Synergy, on the other hand, is about facilitation. It relies on the idea that if you give any group of people enough time, space, and psychological safety, that group possesses a built-in self-organizing intelligence. It will naturally find higher harmony.
Just like the iron filings.
Just like the filings. Think about Benoit Mandelbrot's discovery of fractals. He proved that even within what looks like wild, unpredictable chaos in nature, there are these repeating, highly organized mathematical patterns.
Right. Nature finds a way.
Nature isn't a neatly clipped, highly managed rose garden. It's wild, yet it possesses a deep underlying order. The Greek mystic Heraclitus called this the hidden harmony.
The hidden harmony. I like that.
Tapping into this hidden harmony acts as a catalyst. It brings out the latent genius in individuals and makes the collective exponentially more capable than a rigidly managed team.
Here is where it gets really interesting, though. Because let's ground this in reality for a second. I have to push back here.
Go for it.
Hidden harmony and self-organizing groups, I mean, they sound incredible in a theoretical vacuum.
Sure.
But think about your own life, your own workplace. We have all been on a committee or a group project where one deeply toxic person completely derails the entire effort.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone knows that person.
Right. They bring their ego, they refuse to cooperate, they stir up drama, and they actively ruin that harmonic resonance we were talking about. So does the hidden harmony just eject them? Because in my experience, one toxic person can absolutely sink a ship.
It is the ultimate stress test for this theory.
Yeah.
And the framework addresses this dynamic by completely reframing what a toxic person actually represents in a group.
Okay, how so?
In a state of synergy, you realize that this difficult individual isn't just an anomaly ruining the peace, they are actually carrying the shadow for the whole group.
Wait, let me make sure I understand that. Are you saying the group is subconsciously outsourcing its own unexpressed anxiety to this one person?
Yes.
So they become like the lightning rod for the collective's bad behavior.
That is a brilliant way to put it. The individual is expressing the unhealed dominance, the fear, or the competitive anxiety that exists under the surface within the entire collective.
Well, wow.
We make them the scapegoat so we don't have to look at our own shadows. So the synergistic solution isn't to fire them or excommunicate them, because that is just reverting back to dominance and control.
I see. Because if you just fired the lightning rod, the storm is still there.
Exactly.
Someone else will just end up taking their place and acting out the exact same toxic role.
Precisely. The group has to process the interference together. It requires immense empathy, commitment, and patience from everyone to look at that disruption and ask, what is this revealing about our collective environment?
That sounds like hard work.
It is. That is the real work of synergy. You don't eliminate the friction. You use the friction as the raw material to build a stronger, more resilient order.
That fundamentally changes how we view conflict. It's no longer a roadblock. It's literally the required fuel for evolution.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? If synergy is the harmonization of a small group or community, what happens when that harmonic resonance scales up to encompass the entire human species?
We reach the ultimate endpoint of this gene key, which is communion.
Communion.
In the gene key system, these ultimate evolutionary endpoints are referred to as siddhis, or siddhic frequencies.
Cities.
Yeah, it's a term borrowed from Sanskrit that essentially means a state of divine realization or the absolute peak of human, spiritual, and biological evolution. But to explain the siddhi of communion, we don't need to get bogged down in esoteric mysticism.
Thank goodness.
We can look at a concept everyone listening has experienced, Sunday consciousness.
Sunday consciousness.
Right.
Think about the psychological weight of a Tuesday morning versus a Sunday morning.
It's completely different.
It really is. Almost every major culture and religion has a day of rest built into its fabric. It's the literal origin of the word holiday, a holy day, a specific window of time deliberately carved out for the essential things in life rather than the transactional things.
If you've ever woken up at, say, 6 a.m. on a Sunday and stepped outside, you physically feel the reality of this state.
Yeah, there is a palpable aura hanging over your neighborhood.
The air feels different. There's a descending silence, the humming, that low-level buzzing of human anxiety, the rush hour panic. It's all just suspended.
It's so quiet.
The environment feels so still. It's almost as if the birds and the trees are participating in it with us.
You feel this profound sense of peace. But here is the most fascinating, mind-bending part of this entire concept, that feeling is a complete fabrication.
Totally made up.
We humans invented the days of the week. Monday through Sunday are not tied to the lunar cycle, the solar cycle, or any natural rhythm of the earth whatsoever.
No. The 7-day week is a purely artificial social construct.
Which means the profound peace you feel in your body on a Sunday morning isn't some magical atmospheric phenomenon. It is simply the biological result of human beings collectively agreeing to stop vibrating with anxiety and dominance for 24 hours.
That's all it is. We collectively agree to turn the machine off. And the instant we do, we experience the quiet harmony that is actually there all the time.
The machine is just masking the silence.
Yes.
And this completely upends how we define prosperity. Because right now, money is essentially a mechanism we use to value our time. We spend 6 days a week trapped in the dominance frequency, grinding, competing, hoarding, and we generously grant ourselves one day to experience peace.
Right. But what if an evolved civilization just flipped the math? What if society was built around 6 days of rest and 1 day of work?
Or what if we reach a point where labor, as we know it, becomes entirely obsolete? The tragedy of our current operating system, mentioned in the source, is that this planet is almost unfeasibly beautiful. But the dominance frequency keeps our heads down, constantly looking at the dirt we're fighting over.
We miss the whole thing.
We do. Most people only pull their heads up to realize how breathtaking the world is when they are lying on their deathbeds, because we give all our healthy years to the inessential.
And communion is about living in that Sunday consciousness full-time.
Full-time Sunday.
Full-time, no underlying hum of, what do I have to achieve today to justify my existence? Just pure, spacious being.
Okay, this is where we had to bridge the philosophical with the intensely practical.
Right.
If we achieve a permanent Sunday consciousness as a global species, what does the daily reality of that post-scarcity, zero-work future actually look like? If we dismantle the capitalist grind, how do we survive?
The vision presented here gets deeply radical, especially when it comes to biology.
That'll say.
It suggests that as we move out of heavy fear-based labor into pure communion, our energy needs will fundamentally transform, leading to something called nanofood.
Nanofood.
It sounds like science fiction, but you can already see the very early, crude precursors to this in today's biohacking culture. Think about 5E nutrient drips, optimized macro gels, or meal replacements.
Right, like Soylent and stuff.
Exactly. We are already looking for ways to decouple from the labor of eating. The evolutionary endpoint suggested here takes that to the absolute limit.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine your entire life's supply of necessary nutrients stored in a container the size of a suitcase.
A suitcase.
Yes. These nanonutrients would circulate directly in your bloodstream, releasing exactly what your cells need, the exact millisecond they call for it. We would completely outgrow the need for mass agriculture, which, let's face it, currently scars the earth.
Wait. I am going to throw a massive red flag on the play right here.
Oh, no. Okay, what is it?
A suitcase of circulating nanonutrients.
Yeah.
As someone who loves a good meal, the ritual of cooking, sitting down to dinner with friends,
Yeah.
that sounds incredibly sterile to me.
It does sound a bit clinical.
It sounds like living in a hospital ward, frankly. By stripping away the need for a shared meal, aren't we losing one of the most fundamentally beautiful parts of human culture? It just sounds dull.
It's the most natural objection in the world. And honestly, the speaker in the source text grappled with the exact same resistance. They admitted they loved eating meat as much as anyone else.
Oh, good. So I'm not alone.
Not at all. But the counter-argument requires us to understand the physics of the acidic state. Our current definition of boredom or dullness is actually a byproduct of our dense, low-frequency nervous systems.
What do you mean?
We require heavy, intense stimulation, like the complex flavors of a really rich meal, just to feel something.
So you're saying our sensory baseline would shift?
Exactly. Digesting solid food takes an immense amount of biological energy.
That's true. The whole food coma thing.
Right. If your body no longer had to divert massive resources to breaking down physical matter and fighting off constant survival anxieties, your energetic bandwidth would just explode. Your physical and spiritual sensitivity would skyrocket. The experience of living wouldn't be a sterile hospital ward. It would be a state of overwhelming bliss. You would literally feel the turning of the seasons in your bones. You would be intimately, energetically connected to the awareness of the people sitting next to you. You wouldn't need a heavy meal to feel deeply alive and connected to your friends.
Because we'd be trading the momentary pleasure of taste for a constant full-body immersion in that hidden harmony.
Exactly.
And without the constant grind of survival labor, and without the need to generate money to buy food, we would enter a true post-scarcity economy. So what do humans do with all that expansive time?
The framework suggests we would evolve into a species of polymaths.
A polymath.
Okay.
That's someone whose genius spans multiple, vastly different disciplines, right?
Yeah, think of a Leonardo da Vinci.
Right.
In our current system, you have to hyper-specialize to survive. You become a very specific cog in a very specific machine just to earn a paycheck.
You're the IT guy or the accountant or the marketing director.
Exactly. But without the constraints of survival, that artificial limitation completely vanishes. Every single human being would have the time, the energy, and the unlocked neural pathways to explore art, science, philosophy, and mathematics all simultaneously.
We would become pure, unhindered expressions of universal intelligence.
We would.
That is just a staggering trajectory. We've really mapped an incredible route today. We started way down in the heavy gravity of dominance, that childhood contraction of fear that convinces us the world is hostile, forcing us to hoard life jackets on dry land.
And we explored the mechanism of breaking that cycle, not by fighting the fear, but by feeling the physical tension in the body until it melts into trust.
Right. And that trust changes our epigenetic expression, creating this synergy that aligns us like iron filings in a magnetic field.
Allowing us to process our collective shadows rather than just excommunicating people.
Exactly. All of which paves the way for communion, a radical evolutionary leap into a permanent Sunday consciousness where the illusions of scarcity, time, and even the biological burden of food are completely transcended.
We become polymaths, living in a constant state of heightened sensitivity and connection.
The most crucial takeaway for you, listening right now, is to remember the iron filings.
Yes, this isn't just a utopian sci-fi fantasy. The capacity for this harmonic resonance is an evolutionary blueprint that is already coded right into your DNA.
You don't have to build it from scratch. You just have to allow the fear to melt so the magnet can do its work.
It's already running in the background, just waiting for us to notice it.
Which leaves us with one final thought experiment for you to take into the rest of your week. We established earlier that the profound peace of a Sunday morning is entirely manufactured. It's a feeling we experience simply because we all agree to stop rushing for a single day.
Right.
Think about your own life right now. What other artificial stress-inducing rules in your daily routine are completely made up? And more importantly, which one of those rules could you instantly rewrite today to tap into that hidden harmony without waiting for the rest of the world to catch up?
It's a really powerful question, and the answer might just change the way you experience tomorrow morning.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll see you next time.